What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me, and welcome back to the second installment of the Singer's Diary podcast video. If you don't know me, my name is Alyssa Harris, and I'm a vocalist based in New York City. And as you'll hear by maybe a little bit of noisiness out here on the patio, definitely in the city, ladies and gentlemen. And this week, just as we do every week, we're going to be talking about what I learned at work this week. We're going to be talking about all things pertaining to singing and performing and being a professional and being a vocalist. What happened this week? What did I learn? I'm so glad you asked. Well, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about eye contact, making eye contact, right? While performing. We'll get into it. Also, we're going to talk about being an introvert and being shy, but also being a performer. And lastly, we're going to talk about your social life. Do you like socializing? What is socializing? What is a social life look like to you as a performer? So let's just jump right in. Okay. So I was at an audition yesterday, and I actually got some really good feedback, which I never get feedback when I go to auditions. It never happens. The casting director that was there actually shared a bit of feedback with me, which I was really excited to get. So I went into the room to do my audition, business as usual. And when I went in, I recognized one of the casting directors from a previous audition that I did like about 2 weeks ago. And that was when I was being seen for something else. But I did my song. I recognize those guys, but I did my song. They liked it. They loved it. But afterwards, one of the casting directors said to me, he was like, "Hey, you're still pretty new to New York, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I just got here in January, And he's like, "Okay, well, I want to share something with you that might be helpful. Not because I didn't like it, but because I wonder if you're going to encounter some future directors, like at your, future auditions out here, that might prefer if you do this a certain way or do this a different way." And I'm thinking, okay, what is he going to say, right? But what he said was, when you're singing, I would like to suggest that instead of looking at us in the eye, like while you're singing, that you should look over our heads. Because that's the stance that you would be taking, like if you were in the theater. And maybe like musical theater buffs and musical theater people out there, like you may know this might be like a thunk thunk no brainer. Obviously, you're supposed to do that, like in auditions and like in the theater. I just thought that was so interesting. And of course, I was so grateful to get feedback. I was so grateful to get any kind of like constructive criticism, because that's not the norm. Like, you don't usually go into an audition, like usually if they don't like it or if they had a critique, like they just keep it to themselves. They don't really talk about it. But I was really like relieved, and it was just refreshing to like hear feedback. Because I know when I do my shows, like on cruise ships, it's just like mind blowing to me. Like when I do my shows on cruise ships, or like when I'm singing at weddings or like performing, I'm always making eye contact. I'm always making eye contact with people in the audience, because it's like a different type of performance. So it's been interesting. It's interesting as I'm transitioning from like live entertainment, like, cover bands and wedding bands and tribute show type performance, to like theater. I'm doing more theater now that I'm here in New York. And yeah, it was like, it's a no brainer, but it also like, I just didn't think about it. Like I thought that, making eye contact was like the thing. 'Cause that's what I tell my students when they're performing for me and they're showing me their stage presence. I'm like, you gotta look me in the eye. Why are you looking around? And I know like it's different for everybody. Not everybody is super comfortable making eye contact, but yeah, he was like, you gotta look over our heads. Like, not that he's like, I love your eye contact. I think it's great, but I wonder if some directors might say something or they might not like that or something. So I was like, that is interesting, doing theater is definitely different, because in the other like performance situations that I'm usually in, I can't just like lock in and trance out and like act and like singing the song. If I ain't got you, right? I'm like, my head is on a swivel during my shows, because I'm making eye contact with the band. I'm watching. I've got like a million things going on in my brain at once. And also, that's part of the show. If you wanted to do crowd work and, like, hey, how y'all doing? Blah, blah, blah. Like, breaking that fourth wall, you need to make eye contact with people. So, that definitely was a tip that I'm going to be considering going forward, especially in all my auditions. I mean, maybe I won't change it for like when I'm performing with bands and I'm performing my own shows. It might just take a little bit of time to like get out of that habit of doing that. So we'll see. So the second thing I learned this week, it wasn't even something I learned, it was more like just something I started thinking about. And I wanted to open the floor to all of you and ask you what you think about this. So my sister and I were talking, and I was like, and she knows me, like, I like to go out, I like to have a good time, but I'm not a person who goes out all the time. Like, probably the last thing on my list of things I would want to do for fun is like go to a club, okay, or go to like a bar, or go somewhere where it's hella packed. There's so many people, you know. And I'm like, ugh, why is it that I'm like, I want to be fun, I want to be young. Like, I don't drink too much, but like I have a drink every now and then. But it's like I just do not want to be out at the club like that. My sister's like, who also, by the way, my sister has worked in like nightlife and stuff. She's like, it's because that's literally most of your job is like going out and socializing and being like the life of the party and smiling and always like being fun. If you think about it, every time we go to work as performers, like we're going to work while someone's celebrating, like whether it's a wedding, whether it's a cruise, like they're on vacation. Like, yeah, I'm working, but everybody here is in a good mood, so I better like get on it. You know what I mean? I can't be in a bad mood. Everybody's here to party. It just so happens that this is also my place of work. It's also my place of business. And so when I perform in like dive bars and bars, private parties and stuff like that, everyone's getting lit, everyone's having fun. I'm just around it all the time. And so she pointed that out. She's like, maybe that's why, like, when it's time for you to relax, you kind of want to like close yourself in. You don't want to be around a bunch of people. I was like, that's probably what it is. So I want to ask performers out there, do you like being out, or are you very particular with your socializing and like how much you go out and be around people? If you're around people all the time for work, do you like being around people for leisure and for fun? That's really what it comes down to. It's interesting. And I mean, sort of to piggyback off of that, it's not really the same thing, but it's similar. Where I've heard a lot of performers say that, like, yeah, I'm a performer. When I'm on stage, I've got all this confidence. I'm super charismatic. I'm fearless. I'm talking to people. I'm in everybody's face. I'm outgoing. I'm gregarious. But the minute I step off stage, I'm shy, I'm reserved. I don't like people coming up to me. Like, I'm kind of like nervous. I feel like I go through that every now and then. I wouldn't say that that's me to a T. I wouldn't necessarily call myself an introvert, but I definitely have those tendencies, and I have had those moments before where I'm like, I I'm like a different person when I'm on stage versus not, which is like really interesting. I'm not shy per se, but I definitely have two sides. And if you're a performer, I'm pretty sure you could probably relate to something like that. Let me know what you think. This is a short one, but yeah. Hope you guys had a great week. If you want to know about vocal coaching, if you want to know about working as a singer, if you want to get paid to sing and you're not really sure where to start, hit me up because I can help and we can get you there. Yes, you guys, send me an email, hit me up, links in the description box, and I will see you in the next one.